G'day, fools, and welcome to the Motley Fool's weekly YouTube series, What I've Been Reading. Now, a quick explainer. If you watched our video on Wednesday with Chris Copley about stocks in focus on AGL, you'll recognise the background. I am in Homebush in Sydney. A combination of a scheduling conflict and the fact I slept through an alarm means I'm here after dropping my young bloke at an athletics carnival. So we didn't want you to miss out on the videos, and we record them all at the same time. So that's why I'm here. And I'm joined, thankfully, from his place by Darius Zarghami. Darius, g'day.
G'day, Scott. How you going?
Good, mate. Hopefully the sound of the video holds up okay. If not, apologies to our viewers, but we'll try and battle through. Good news is it's about you, not about me, mate. So let's do that. You read a book recently called "The Mountain Is You" by Brianna Wiest or Wiest. We couldn't quite agree, so we'll go with Wiest for now. Apologies, Brianna, if you're watching. We didn't know how to pronounce your surname. And, mate, what I loved about this, you wrote an article, by the way, if you're a member of a Motley Fool service, check out the Motley Fool Member Centre. Hopefully you already are. This isn't a plug, by the way, but Darius has already written an article about this book. So you get extra content. If you remember, maybe you've heard it already, maybe you've read it already. I hope you have. But either way, if you want to get more from Darius on this, check out the Motley Fool Member Centre. Mate, what I loved about it is that the blurb, I don't know if it comes from the book or from you, it was on that article. It says, "The mountain isn't in front of you. The mountain is you." And I kind of thought it was a really nice way to sum up the article you wrote and the book. But tell us about it in your words, mate.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. The book really is about how you self-sabotage yourself. And it's the ways we really unconsciously hold ourselves back from things like growth and happiness. And what I really thought was that could have many investing connotations as well to it. And what Reist really argues is that the mountain as you mentioned, the mountain we struggle to climb, it's not outside of us. It really is us. It's things like our fears, our doubts, the limiting patterns that we put on ourselves, those routines that we get into that don't help us grow, but instead hold us back. And what I really particularly liked about the book was that it blended a good mix of psychology with practical advice, and then used that to show how confronting and transforming your patterns that you have pre-existing can really turn obstacles that you're facing into opportunities to help you become a stronger version of yourself. But in the book, Wiest argues that self-sabotage isn't really laziness or failure or anything to really be ashamed of. It's something we all face at any given time. It's actually something that's more about self-protection and keeping us safe from unconscious things that we don't really realize are at play, but are holding us back. And so it can really take a number of different forms. Reading the book, I noticed so many of these in myself. As a quick aside, actually, when I started reading the book, a friend had suggested it to me. I came to him and I said, "Oh, I'm struggling with a few different things. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do." And he said, "I think I have the book for you." And he was completely
Nice.
right, because I noticed all of these different, I guess, self-identifiers in myself when reading the book. And it was things like procrastination, perfectionism, negative self-talk, distraction seeking. And a big one for me was having a fear of visibility. So rather than trying to grow as a person and achieve something, I'd instead think I should stay small. I should avoid judgment. I should avoid rejection. That was a really big one that I noticed in a lot of people, this sort of mindset of I don't want to be successful because successful people must be bad. What did they do to, achieve that success? How did they get there, But in terms of investing, that it can kind of show up as the way self-sabotage shows up in investing is things like selling in a panic during a market crash because of fear, right? Chasing a hype stock so that you don't feel like you're, sitting on your hands and doing nothing. You want to be a part of it. You don't want to miss out. Again, it's kind of a fear-based thing, fear of missing out. And then a lot of people, they just, again, wanting to kind of stay small and not get judged, they'll just avoid investing altogether because you're afraid of making the wrong decision.
I like that, man. I love by the way, I love the kind of self-reflection too, and the fact you kind of said, hey, this was for me, this worked for me. Have a look at this. I think there's some real honesty in that. I really appreciate you being that honest and sharing it with our viewers and our members, of course, for the article you wrote. I love too the fact. I mean, Warren Buffett's talked about the fact that for him, he says regularly temperament is far more important than IQ. And while we're not talking about temperament necessarily, there's a nice kind of there's overlapping circles here between kind of emotional intelligence, self-sabotage, temperament. That whole idea of kind of knowing yourself, dealing with your own issues, basically getting yourself ready to be successful. You mentioned that word success. That strikes me as kind of a really nice overlap, and where this really does apply to investing well is being able to kind of stay out of your own way as much as beating the market out there, right? Get your own approach right, get your own temperament right, understand yourself, get ready for the things that are going to challenge you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Wiest really teaches that the transformation begins with that self-reflection and that emotional awareness. And investing, that's really, for me, I think, knowing the why of your decision, like why you're making that decision, why you're choosing to invest in that company. Are you investing in a business because it's trending on Reddit, or because you believe in the company? Or are you holding cash because you've really like planned that out and you know you're going to need that cash? Or are you just really quite afraid of failing? Unfortunately, we says emotions aren't the enemy exactly. Instead, and this is so true of investing, emotions aren't the enemy. It's the emotional reactivity that we have. It's the actions we take as a result of those emotions that that are the enemy. And so I think you'll agree, great investors, really what they develop is, as Warren Buffett said, almost an emotional mastery to help with that temperament. And they'll build systems, strategies, use checklists, automation, routines, all of those things to keep from having that emotional reactivity and making those kind of impulsive decisions that we all make. But in terms of things we can do for our investing, and I guess the investing takeaway I'd take from it, it's important to remember that it's really quite slow of a process. It's uncomfortable of a process. And it's the things we should all be doing in our investing anyway. It's self-discipline, really, at the end of the day, delaying gratification and things. But some things that we can do to, I guess, protect ourselves is, if we know we're someone who's afraid of risk and who's prone to reacting to risk, we can take steps to protect our portfolio through diversification, for example. We can, instead of, looking at a past failure where we sold out of fear, we can choose to learn from that past mistake and not dwell on the shame. I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of days ago. She mentioned to me, I was back in March when Trump announced those tariffs, I got really scared and I just sold everything. I just sold. And I said that I've made mistakes like that in the past as well, but what's important is what you did from there. And she goes, yeah, I stopped. I thought about it. I realized that no, the market will probably recover as it has in the past. And, you've told me that before. And I bought everything as quick as I could. I bought it all. And I said, I'm not doing that again. I'm not making that mistake again. And I was so proud of her. It's a great
That's
decision.
awesome.
It's the best thing you can do. And I said to her, the next time that drops, I think you know what to do now. It's not sell. Of course, we can't give. Yeah. But the other things you can do, really basic things, is journal your decisions, track your progress, reflect on your progress, all those different things. Really great ways to build that resilience and that emotional mastery in investing that Brianna Wiest tries to teach.
I love it, man. What I love about it too is if our viewers do grab the book, and I hope they do, and give it a read, not only hopefully will improve their investing, may just improve their lives overall too. So, mate, thank you for bringing The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest to us, to our viewers. Thanks for bearing with whatever noise or background was happening while we were chatting. And until next time, hopefully back in the office. Cool on.